Now, ActionSA has described the decision to release former President Jacob Zuma from prison as a dangerous precedent. The Correctional Services Commissioner released Zuma from Escort prison on a special remission. Joining us for Summary Action is Herman Mashaba, ActionSA President. A very good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Mashaba. You're clearly not impressed with President Ramaphosa's political solution. Talk to us about why is that?
Well, actually, not just not pleased, outraged. I think, when the news broke this morning, I said to myself, I wish this was a bad dream. Here, we're a country facing the highest violent crime on earth that the world has ever seen. We're a country where 70 people are being murdered on a daily basis, known all over the world as the murder capital of the world, the rape capital of the world. A country where we've allowed international criminal syndicates to use South Africa as their playground. And here we are with the President Cyril Ramaphosa actually making a mockery of our criminal justice system, just really releasing criminals back into our communities when we are facing such high levels of crime. I think it's very, very unfortunate. It's an insult to all of us as South Africans, and honestly, ANC, it's a curse to our nation. The President Cyril Ramaphosa, it's a real disappointment. It's really making us a laughingstock of the world.
What are the trigger points here? I mean, in this decision, is there a trigger point when it comes to any sort of violence that may ensue, as you try and assess it, and just listening to what you're saying, Mr. Mashaba?
Paul, I'm sure you are aware majority of our prisoners are the repeat offenders. Every time they get out, when they come back, actually commit more serious crimes, and they then go back and get parole. So this parole system in our country, unfortunately, is creating a massive problem. And the reason why we have such high levels of crime is because we've opened our borders and allowed international criminal syndicates to use South Africa as the playground. Our criminal justice system is led by criminals themselves. So, unfortunately, we are not going to really succeed as a country for as long as we've got this government in power, whether denying our youth employment opportunities, giving them the most inferior education on earth. So, unfortunately, this is a recipe for disaster. And I think it's up to South Africans to decide. 2024 is around the corner. We can moan and shout as much as we want and burn tires and burn our hospitals and kill one another. Ultimately, all of us as South Africans, we can only save ourselves by voting this government out. Otherwise, then we must be prepared to pay the ultimate price of being the murder capital of the world, of being the rape capital of the world.
You say it sets a dangerous precedent. What do you believe this decision duplicates or replicates as in the minds of society when it comes to the rule of law and those in power?
Yes, absolutely. I think, honestly, already people have spoken to since this morning. No one can ever believe that President Cyril Ramaphosa can actually use an excuse of avoiding to put Jacob Zuma back in prison by unleashing criminals back into our country. You know very well they are spent on VIP protection. They are protected. In fact, instead of even protecting us, they are unleashing criminals on us as a society, law-abiding citizens. The VIP protection teams are beating us up, assaulting us. So I think, honestly, we're in a really very dangerous space. They are allowing international criminal syndicates to use South Africa as a playground. Just the other day, on Monday, someone from Bangladesh raping 3 young kids, 7, 8, and 9, is out on bail. The person is in South Africa illegally. How on earth does an illegal person get bail? I'm dealing with a case of a Nigerian in Primrose. busy hijacking houses of South Africans involved in drug dealings. Now what we are doing, now unleashing more criminals back into our communities to disrupt us. And I think they are doing this deliberately to ensure that Jacob Zuma does not really go to prison. If they did not want Zuma in prison, then why then unleash criminals back into our communities to come and disrupt our peace?
Yeah. Perhaps, when it comes to the matter on former President Jacob Zuma, I mean, there have been talk by the ANC that they're aware that there are attempts to use this matter to divide the party and cause social instability because, of course, it all started going back to the incarceration, which led to the July 2021 riots and a lot of the tensions at the time on what may transpire should the former president be put back in jail.
I think, look, the courts have made the determination Jacob Zuma needs to really go back to jail. And from their own information, Zuma handed himself over, when was it, this morning or last night, wherever it is, just to go and report and get back. This is a well-concocted plan by the ANC government to ensure that Jacob Zuma does not go back to jail. But then, why then unleash criminals back into our communities? If they don't want Jacob Zuma not to go to jail, if they don't respect the laws of this country, why unleash criminals back to come and disrupt us? That is where the problem is. I think they are really playing a very dangerous game on society, and I think it's up to us as South Africans, unapologetic about this. I'm calling on South Africans, let's mobilize to make sure that come 2024, we remove this criminality and this evil out of our system. Otherwise, this country will soon become a criminal paradise, because that's basically what the ANC is trying to really create in our country.
Reaction from you. The breaking news as you and I speak on your screen, Parliament Committee recommending the removal of Busisiwe Mkhwebane as public protector. Your reaction to that, please.
Well, I think I saw it just before I went on air with you. I think as ActionSA, we welcome this move. Advocate Mkhwebane should have been removed 2 years ago. I was one of his victims, and unfortunate enough, I was exonerated by a court of law when she unconstitutionally working with the ANC to find every fault against me when I was the mayor of the city of Johannesburg. But I had made it clear at the time that I will take it on judicial review. And fortunate enough, the courts cleared me on. So I'm talking from experience as a victim of the biasness of this particular public protector. I think let her go away and actually hope that one day South Africa can have a proper public protector that is going to protect the society, unlike the current one, this Busisiwe, who was more involved in ANC political infighting and fights instead of actually protecting civil society. So I speak from experience and from ActionSA, we welcome her dismissal. She should have been dismissed from the beginning 2 years ago. In fact, as far as I'm concerned, she should not have really been appointed in the first place. But we welcome the decision, and let's hope that we can really put this history behind us and move forward as a nation.
Very well. Thank you so much for your time. Let's perhaps leave it there for now. ActionSA's Herman Mashaba, they're giving us some reaction to the breaking news on your screen.